great day, students. It's Mr. Sargent here, and today we're going to continue talking about resources. Now, a resource is something that we can use in order to survive. Now, we have natural resources, we have man-made resources, we have renewable resources, and we have non-renewable resources. Now, we have been talking about all of these in class, so I don't want to bore you with that. But what I do want to talk to you today is about a book that inspired me when I'm teaching to put a bigger focus on protecting our non-renewable and even our renewable resources. And that book is The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. If you haven't read it, this is an incredible, incredible book that talks about what could happen if we don't take care of our natural resources. So what I'd like to do today, ladies and gentlemen, is do a read-along with you so you can experience the book, The Lorax. If you have your own copy, feel free to read along with me. The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour, when it blows and no birds ever sing, excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, the old once-lear still lives here. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the once-lear. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkim, on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkim, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffed moof. And on special dank midnights in August he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather's snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snove, his secret stranglehold in his grooveless glove. Then he grunts, "I will call you by whisper, my phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone." Slop! Down slops the whisper my phone to your ear, and the old once-lear's whispers are not very clear, since they have come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. "Now I'll tell you," he says, with his teeth sounding gray, "how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swami swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the trufala trees, the bright-colored tufts of the trufala trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate trufala fruits. From the rupulous pond came the comfortable sounds of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those trufala trees. All of my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they were sweet smell and fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I'd unload my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a trufala tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill, with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. The instant I'd finished, I heard a guff thump. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him. That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharp and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my trufala tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneeds is a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is not one on earth who would buy that full thneed. But for the next minute I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid guy, you never can tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone. I put a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts and I said, listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Once-Lear family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weeken, sharp right at South Stitch. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Once-Lear family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of trufala trees. Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 trufala trees with one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and the Lorax, well, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of that brown barbaloots who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating trufala fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough trufala fruit to go around, and my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They loved living here, but I can't tell them stay. They have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Once-Lear, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered my loads. Of the needs I shipped out, I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more needs. I biggered my money, which everybody needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes, when my old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax, he coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffed, he snargled, he sniffed. Once leer, he cried with a crumpless croak. Once leer, you're making such smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in their throat. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, let me say a few words about Gluppity Glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making Gluppity Glup, also Schloppity Schlop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old once-leer man, you. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary, in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All of you do is yappity yap and say, bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering, and biggering, and biggering, and biggering, turning more trees into needs, which everyone needs. And at that moment we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall. That was the last tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So, in no time, my uncles and aunts and everyone all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left, 'neath the bad-smelling sky, was a big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad backward glance, as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hesitated himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the once-leer, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the once-leer. He lets something fall. It's a truffulus seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last truthful of seeds, and truthful of trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new trufula, treat it with care, give it clean water, and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then Lorax and all of his friends may come back. What a great story. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm putting the challenge out to you. What can you do to help out our environment and help protect our natural resources? I would love to hear from you and think about the things that we're going to do. Now, I know in class today, we're going to do something really cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for that. And thank you for joining me today. If you like this story, I may do some more. All right. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you later.